Should Tamlin get a redemption arc? Honestly, I think it comes down to one of my main mantras. Are they doing the work? So we're going to take a look at Tamlin versus Nesta because it's very clear that Nesta has done the work through the end of ACOTAR Book 5. So it just makes her an easy example that I can use for illustrative purposes. I don't think we need to rehash the facts. We all know the story. We all know that Tamlin was a little alpha holy. We all know that Feyre was kind of a bitch. We all know that Rhysand was a little bit of an opportunist. So let's just skip ahead to where Feyre and Rhysand are off doing their happily ever after thing, kind of. And Tamlin is doing his whole solo isolation thing. After everything goes down, understandably, Tamlin is kind of a shit with the other High Lords. He instigates with Feyre any chance he gets, and Rhysand for that matter, to the point that even the other High Lords are just over it. And then he runs right back to Hybern, so he's playing double agent, I guess, at best. I don't know, that's a debate that my husband and I still have. And ultimately, he does actually save the life of Feyre and Rhysand. Feyre with the wind magic thing, so that she could actually gain some momentum and fly and get to safety. And Rhysand with the seat of power thing. And genuinely did wish Feyre to be happy. Like, that's nice. That shows that he is, in fact, a good person, which Feyre has pointed out time and time again. Two people can be good people without being a good match. It doesn't mean either one is deficient in any way. It just means the two of them don't work well together. So after that resolution, Tamlin goes into a very deep isolation where he is very easily triggered. I think this makes sense. Who hasn't either been a Tamlin or loved a Tamlin? So, I think it all makes sense. And then we don't know anything else after that, including what he's thinking, what he's feeling, what he's saying to Lucian, what he's saying to anybody else, where everybody else went. We can make some assumptions, but we really don't know what's going on in his head and his heart. So at this point, we have to ask, is Tamlin doing the work? At this point, my gut feeling is no. My gut feeling is that he is a traumatized individual who struggles with self-regulation in ways that deeply affect his personal relationships and other such aspects of daily life. These things are not irredeemable. They're just, you got to be willing to face it before you can actually heal from it. And a lot of people are not willing to do the work. But you know who did do the work? Nesta. Again, I'm not going to rehash all the facts. We all know she was petty and vengeful and stubborn and very brute forcey about her will. After she goes in the cauldron, we don't really see a lot of change externally, but in ACOTAR Book 5, we do see a lot of what was going on internally at the time and what she was trying to process. We know that she had recently survived a sexual assault and then got violated even further by being thrown into the cauldron. Well, maybe not thrown, but forced. Everything about her physical body was violated in a very short amount of time. And again, externally, we're not really seeing any of that. She's engaging with the Night Court, she's making friends, she's finding purpose, she's contributing, but internally, she still has a lot of triggers that she's trying to work through. So, is that actually healing? And is Nesta actually doing the work? Again, we know later that she actually does do the work, but like right now, honestly, it could go either way if she's doing the work. I could very easily see an argument that her desire to be part of society, again, is definitely a sign of healing, but I can also see the argument that it's a sign of distraction, and she's not very open about what's going on in her head quite at that point. So then we get to the end of the war, and she has to confront three things simultaneously. One, she has very real feelings for Cassian that she doesn't know what to do with. And even worse, he returns them. Two, she's got to make her first kill. And it's the King of Hybern. That's a big deal. I assume that's her first kill. And three, her very complicated feelings towards her father and the whole family dynamic. Coincidentally, part of her process is to also go into a deep isolation. And she is also easily triggered. But unlike Tamlin, she actually accepted the help of Cassian. For Tamlin, Lucian would have filled this role, maybe someone else. But for Nesta, she did accept the help of Cassian. She started training, she worked in the library, and from there she was able to make friends and she was able to find a path and find some purpose. And she started doing the actual healing that comes with the physical training in a holistic, I don't really know how to explain it sort of way. Things are looking up for Nesta. She's feeling pretty fulfilled. She's got the romance, she's got the friends, she's got the Valkyrie. She's actually getting vulnerable with these people, so she's actually doing the healing. And then there's the whole fiasco about the maid swords. Understandably, Nesta's triggered by this. I don't feel like I really need to explain that. However, she has come a long way with her self-regulation. Normally, her reaction would be to just shut down and push away. But in this argument with Amren and then eventually Feyre joining in, she's being very clear about how she feels and why. And then, yes, she metaphorically takes a step backward and, gets Feyre in a state of distress because she's still a work in progress. And honestly, she's doing great. If that's her biggest fuck up in this whole thing, she's doing great with her self-regulation. Especially because she has instant regret as she understands how much damage she did to Feyre, even though I think we can all agree it was the right thing. Feyre needed to know. And I agree that in her way, she was looking out for Feyre and trying to stand up for her when she felt that Feyre had been unwittingly going through a similar betrayal. But also, there's a sibling rivalry there, there's shame there, there's a whole lot of psychology stuff going on that I'm just gonna leave to the experts. And then she goes on the hike with Cassian, and I would argue this is the proof that she's doing the work. Cassian specifically says he's ready for a fight, but instead she just breaks down. She completely lets her walls down, she lets him in, she accepts his support, and she accepts his love. And she finally starts to feel that maybe she is worth something. And she gets to see for herself that none of this stuff is irredeemable. She makes amends with everybody, and even makes amends with the Cauldron. And in doing so, completes that whole cycle of the redemption arc that she genuinely did earn. And yes, she's still going to slip up. She's not perfect. Nobody is. And trust me, nobody actually wants you to be perfect, no matter how much they complain. Some people just can't be pleased. So arguably, we haven't gotten to see that much of Tamlin's arc yet. Judging from the interview on the Call Her Daddy podcast, I don't know that we will. But honestly, I'm in full support of Tamlin getting his redemption arc as long as he's doing the work. So, let me put it to you. Is Tamlin doing the work? Let me know in the comments.